All right, so we have covered topic definition and recognition. So yes. Okay, so from these two topic, okay, definition and recognition, you are now able to create an asset account. Okay, it can be land, it can be building, it can be motor vehicle, okay, it can be equipment, furniture, fixtures and fittings, okay, any asset that meets the definition and recognition of PPE. Okay, and then how to measure, how much should we record in our account. Okay, so for the measurement, so we have two different measurement. The first one is at initial measurement and the other one is for subsequent measurement. Okay, initial measurement, the basic rule is that everything is to be recorded at cost. Okay, but again, let me repeat again. Okay, cost can be cash equivalent of a value. That's why in the computation of your initial cost, okay, in the computation of initial cost, you may have, okay, cash item, all right, and then you may have provision, okay, for future cost. For example, the cost for dismantling, removing, and restoring that will happen in the future. We need to record that one, but we cannot record at the cash value, because cash value only you will incur that cash value only after a certain period or when it comes to the end of useful life. Okay, all right. And there are also situations where this cost is equal to the fair value. For example, asset exchange. Okay, so asset exchange, there is no cash consideration involved in the transaction. So, okay, we need to use the fair value. All right, so initial measurement is for you to guide you to record for the first time. Okay, so it can be initial cost, it can be subsequent cost. Okay, initial cost is the cost that you incur because you acquire the asset. Whereas subsequent cost, you already have the asset, but you incur additional cost on the same asset. Okay, so for the initial cost, you have learned, okay, to identify which cost that we should include as part of initial cost. So you have to carefully decide. Okay, for example, in the tutorial question, okay, we have a question where they give you initial cost of land, they give you initial cost of factory. But then the question only asks you the initial cost of factory. There are some of you who try to include everything, all right? So it shows that actually it does not show how brilliant you are, but it shows that you know nothing at all. Okay, so make sure you know how to differentiate between the initial cost of this asset and the initial cost of the other asset. All right. Okay, and the initial cost will be the cost of, okay, the initial cost that you have calculated will be the cost of asset, will be recorded in asset account. Okay, subsequent costs are the additional costs that you incur. But for subsequent costs, okay, there are issues involved here. Okay, the main issues here is either to expense off the cost or to capitalize the cost as PPE, meaning to add the cost to the existing carrying amount. Okay. Next, we are moving to subsequent measurement. Okay, subsequent measurement deals with the cost that you already recorded in your books of account. You have recorded the item, you have recorded the cost that you have incurred in the past. Okay, for example, when you first purchase, okay, the asset for the first time. Okay, so to record that, of course, the asset must pass the definition, pass the recognition criteria. All right, and then okay, how much should we record? So we go back to this initial measurement. Okay, look at untuk initial cost, apa yang perlu kita masukkan. So you include all the three elements of cost. Apa three elements of cost? Number one, purchase price minus discount. Number two, direct cost. Number three, initial estimate of dismantling, removing, and restoring. Okay, so now you have recorded everything. Okay, now you have recorded everything. All right, you have recorded everything. Everything is in the books. Okay, but the problem is, what are we going to do with this cost at the end of the year. Okay, so subsequent measurements deals with the carrying amount of PPE at the end of the year. Okay, it deals with the carrying amount of PPE at the end of the year. Do we maintain at its cost, or how do we calculate the carrying amount? What is the formula for carrying amount? Okay, so subsequent measurement deals with the costs that have been recorded in the books of account. Okay, but how much should we report in the financial statement at the end of the year? So the standard allows you to choose between cost model and revaluation model. So your friend Adi already defined to you, okay, the carrying amount for cost model. It is equal to cost less any accumulated depreciation, less any accumulated impairment losses. Meaning that for depreciable asset at the end of the year, okay, instead of stop at cost only, you have to minus also the accumulated depreciation and any accumulated impairment loss. All right, so that's why, okay, there is a topic under subsequent measurement for depreciation. How to calculate the depreciation? It will be the same, okay, where you have two common, we are going to use two common methods, okay, which are straight line method and reducing balance method. All right, okay, and then we are going to look also at the basis, okay, either monthly basis or yearly basis. So you have to be careful with the basis used, okay, in the calculation of depreciation. Okay, and then we are going to look at also the policy. Is there any company's policy on the computation of depreciation? For example, there could be a policy that there is no depreciation in the year of disposal. So if you have this policy given to you in the question, meaning that for in the year of disposal, you don't have to provide any depreciation. But if you don't have this statement, okay, this policy stated or given in the question, then we assume that we have to continue to calculate the depreciation up to the date of disposal, especially when the company adopt monthly basis. All right, okay. Next, okay, so that so now subsequent measurement, it means that you have to provide for depreciation. Okay, the cost, meaning that the amount that we have to present on the face of the statement of financial position at the end of the year, okay, is the carrying amount. Okay, the amount that we need to present is the carrying amount, and the carrying amount is the cost minus any accumulated depreciation and any accumulated impairment loss, if any. All right, okay, so that's why kita ada depreciation. Kita belajar mengenai depreciation because the standard says so. Okay, at the end of the year, you have to deduct, okay, accumulated depreciation. So ada topik untuk depreciation. How do we calculate depreciation? And then for FAR 320, we are going to add one more. Okay, how to provide for impairment loss. Okay, all right. So next question is related to revaluation model. Okay, so how revaluation model define the carrying amount of PPE at the end of the year? All right, so the carrying amount under revaluation model. So how do we calculate the carrying amount? Carrying amount is equal to revalue amount, which is equal to the fair value on the date of revaluation, minus any subsequent accumulated depreciation. Why subsequent? Because in the cost model, we don't have this word, subsequent accumulated depreciation and subsequent impairment loss. Okay, so I will explain later why do we have this subsequent. All right, okay. So for subsequent measurement, okay, so that is the topic for subsequent measurement. The first one is for you to know how to calculate the carrying amount at the end of the year, meaning that the cost already recorded in the book, and now how we want to deal with this cost, okay, with the cost of asset. How do we record in the statement of financial position? All right, so for FAR 320, we are going to focus more on revaluation model instead of cost model.